On August the 4th or the 5th, depending on where you live, Venus moves into the sign of Virgo, a place of her detriment. It's called the sign of her fall. But don't worry, it's not all bad. And she'll be moving through this sign in the sky in the Western tropical zodiac through till the 29th of August. This is going to have a major impact on a lot of our world events that are very much in the news cycle right now. In particular, events that have to do with potential forging of peace in places of war, as well as the possibility for major turning point stories connected to the nominee for the president of the United States, Kamala Harris, who has her Venus in Virgo, in her natal fourth house. We're going to outline some of the global and world astrology to begin with, but then we're going to do your sign. All signs portion, please listen for your sun sign as to do with career and purpose, moon, maybe your body, your mind, and your home, and things on your rising sign. Listening for your rising sign are really just the most accurate sort of the character review in the matrix, right? The ascendant and what's going on for that character in the real world. So when we do this all signs portion, we'll do that probably half an hour into this video. If you'd like to stay tuned to listen to some of what Venus is up to for the world, please listen in for the first half hour. I'm also going to say things about Venus in the sign of Virgo that I won't repeat for each sign. So stay tuned for a little bit of the intro if you don't mind. Then you can use the timestamps pinned to the comments or in the description box in order to chapters, click the title of the video, and it'll let you jump forward to whichever signs you wish to listen to. Alrighty, this video is probably going to be about an hour and a half at the most long. Are you new to my channel? Hi, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian. I am a Western tropical zodiacal astrologer using Hellenistic and traditional astrology tools. I love the whole sign house system. Fixed stars and minor asteroids are a part of my toolkit. I love, love, love giving you the timing tools you need to time your best life and to use astrology as a navigational tool. So if that's something you like, especially when you lean into the general all signs content, then I put out at least 20 videos, all sign videos all month long, including a whole video just for your sign. If you haven't seen that yet, my all signs videos, each one is half an hour for your sign about what to expect in the month of August, has come out individual videos, but I also just released an overview of the month for the world, plus a little mini reading update for your sign as well. So you got two all signs ways to go for the month of August. So here we are. I'm recording on August the 1st. Happy August. And I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. Number one, Venus. What does it mean when Venus is in the sign of her fall? It sounds terrible. I've fallen and I can't get up. Well, it means that she's not at her best. She has some qualities of weakness in the sky. Now, it's interesting because when Venus is in Virgo, she can be a precision person. Like in the ancient world, Venus can be about the arts, the artist, the performer, the nurse. So a nurse, a performer, an artist, a creative type of person will be Virgoian, which is attention to detail and also mutable, willing to make changes and flex. I have a client who is world renowned and her work is in galleries around the world for her precision art and the way she does it and the way she layers various modalities. She's adaptable, she's mutable, she's changed her formats. Used to be watercolor, not anymore. And the intricacy of her art. So when I see artists, and a lot of actors have Venus and Virgo because they become a master of the craft of acting, right? It's literally about being that precision, that good at it. Now, there are some difficult parts of Venus and Virgo. See, she's in the sign that belongs to Mercury. Mercury is that analytical part of our life and our mental and our, that thinking part of our reality. And what is she? The goddess of our emotional desires. What do you want to have? What do you desire in life? Where do you find your pleasure? And of course, it's a little bit like Mercury's like, wait a minute here, we need to analyze this. So I can only imagine some people who have Venus and Virgo are very analytical about their love life, very strategic, very mental about it as well. Now, there is a little bit of a thing about Venus and Virgo. She's also a priestess, right? Magic, priestess, archetype can be Virgoian as well. Also, in Vettius Valens, he lumps Virgo as a promiscuous place for Venus. Now, to be clear, it's not just for you guys who have a Venus and Virgo that you might have many love affairs in life or be somewhat on the promiscuous side. Okay, I'm saying it's possible, but Vettius Valens also includes other signs. And I'm going to outline that for you just in case you're interested right now. So don't take this personally if you have Venus in Virgo and you think that I'm just, slamming your morals or something. And there's nothing wrong with having a promiscuous love life if that's your choice, right? So no judgment here. But Vedic Valens, ancient, 2000 plus year old, astrologer philosopher, basically did indicate that the signs of Venus in Aries, Venus in Gemini, Venus in Cancer, Venus in Virgo, Venus in Libra, Venus in Sagittarius, Capricorn, or Pisces. Now that's a lot of signs who may have a little bit more promiscuity in their life, or you're born at night, or your Venus is conjunct Mercury, because Mercury is fickle and flirty and fun. But it's interesting, like, when I think of famous people who are known for, various aspects of their, robust flirtation or sex life. Hugh Hefner has Venus in Pisces, exalted, right, in the highest place she can be across from Virgo, but he made money out of it in Jupiter's sign. Jupiter, wealth and prosperity, expansion and leadership. Venus, sex, exaltation, Playboy Mansion, a whole empire of financial gain in that empire of sex, basically. And then Venus and Virgo people can be very much the other way. They can be very practical about their, sex life, and transactional. So I'm not going to say, for example, Kamala Harris has Venus in the bottom of her chart in her fourth house. Does she have transactional sexuality? I don't know. But, the gossip on the whole, we don't like Kamala, is that she used her sexual energy, or feminine energy, whatever you want to call it, to climb her way to power in California when she was a district attorney, etc. Now, I am not, or a senator. I'm not saying this is true. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying that's what the naysayers about Kamala Harris would say when she has Venus in Virgo. Now, I'm not suggesting it's true. So don't criticize me. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democratic. It's just the astrology of Venus and Virgo. Well, who else has, who else is that placement? J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling is basically somebody who made a fortune being a precision artist, as she was defining her craft of writing several books, a craft. Nobody would say that J.K. Rowling is a brilliant artistic writer whose sentences you're just going to want to put on your wall as a amazing piece of art. She was a storyteller who had perfected the craft of her Venus art. So there's an example of what I'm saying. It's not so much a bad thing, it's the way it expresses. Who else has a Venus in Virgo? Meghan Markle. Meghan has been slammed for being usurious and choosing to get married to a king for power, weird stuff like that. Go back to J.K. Rowling. Now she's the one who says women are women, Venus and Virgo. I'm going to be analytical. I'm going to be practical about this. I'm going to have my fall by talking about, what is a woman? And that energy has been a part of her fall, right? She got into hot water with that. So I'm giving you some flavors of Venus in Virgo. Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts, that was one of her most famous movies. And it literally is about someone being hired, right? Like a prostitute being hired. I have seen the Venus and Virgo energy look like the prostitute, the sacred priestess, the temple prostitute archetype. So we get a lot of Venus and Virgo with energies that are like kind of sexuality that isn't romantic, rom-com, fairy tale love, because Virgo is not fairy tale love. John Lennon had Venus in Virgo, and everyone criticized Yoko Ono and John Lennon lying around in bed all day. And, his fallen Venus got him in trouble with his bandmates who didn't like Yoko Ono. Those kinds of stories. Sean Penn has Venus in Virgo. Sophia Loren, the famous actress of the ancient days, beautiful Catherine Zeta-Jones, and giving you some examples of people with these placements. And, that's a vibe. So I'm starting with the vibe of Venus and Virgo. We're all going to be moving through the vibe of Venus and Virgo. Eminem, Venus and Virgo. Oh my God, I love his stuff, some of his songs, right? With a real Slim Shady, please stand. Real Slim Shady, please stand up, please stand up. I think Venus and Virgo for him is the craft of the language he uses and the precision of the rhyming words and schemes that he puts into his, hip hop / rap music, whatever it's called, right? Okay. Now, this energy of Venus and Virgo, before we do your sign and talk about the world, is moving through, as I said, the 4th, like 8 p.m. at night, Pacific Daily Time at night. But then for many people in the world, it'll be the next day, the 5th. So the 4th or the 5th of August through to the 29th, we all get a dose of this energy of a very transactional, practical Venus. Now, Venus rules peace, harmony, uniting, bringing things together that are torn asunder. Can she do that in Virgo? Because it is a sign of her fall. You would imagine that in her fall, she may not be able to bring peace to places and things that have been torn asunder. However, sometimes the transactional, analytical, mercurial quality of a Venus in Virgo has a different meaning. She can be less emotional and more practical and more analytical. So Israel is a Libra rising ruled by Venus. Could it indicate for a nation like Israel that the Lord of its sign is moving through Virgo? Could it lend itself perhaps to the possibility of a movement toward peace from backroom deals and negotiations, Virgo, the 12th house for the nation of Israel? That would mean things are going on behind the scenes, not in the public eye, to transactionally create peace, if peace is possible. It's just a thought. Wouldn't we all like that? Because unfortunately, the other dark side of Venus in Virgo just this month, right? Normally Venus is trundling through Virgo, not getting into any complicated hot relationships with other planets. But this month she's in a hot mess, because as we approach the middle of the month, she is going to oppose Saturn in Pisces, which is a sign of where she's exalted, be in an opposition 180 degrees away from Virgo. And at the same time, she'll be squaring Mars and squaring Jupiter. That's called a T-square. And T-squares are difficult challenges of opposition and square energy that requires, first of all, conflict, decisions, action, forces opposing each other that must be reconciled. It is literally a very difficult sky under any circumstance, let alone having Mars and Jupiter, normally abundant confidence, commander-in-chief, heroic action, fortunate action, really good energy. So those two coming together in Gemini, even when Jupiter's in his fall. And unfortunately, having to face a square off with Venus while she's also opposing Saturn. Venus is in her detriment. She's fallen. Jupiter is in the sign of his exile. These are both Mercury signs. That means Saturn has more strength and dignity, right? Saturn is just neutrally placed in the sign of Pisces. He's not doing too bad. Mars is neutrally placed in the sign of Gemini, although he does create war between brothers and neighbors and civil war energy, right? And so we got to keep that in mind. But I would say this hot T-square mess, in which Mercury is in charge of Jupiter and Mars, and Mercury is in charge of Venus as she trundles through the sign of Virgo and becomes caught up in a T-square, gives Mercury a whole lot of say in how Venus will respond to that intensity that we're going to start to feel building up during the Democratic National Convention in the middle to late part of August. Whew! With Venus, Kamala Harris's 17-degree Venus in her natal 4th house being exactly conjunct the transiting sky, real-time sky Venus. So there's no way that Kamala Harris does not have a huge story in the news cycle during the Democratic National Convention to do with what Venus in her 4th house is up to. All right, I'm going to show you the sky. We're going to do the all signs after this first half hour of world astrology. Now, here we have the general gist of the sky. Venus has moved into the sign of Virgo, and I'm showing it to you right here. Whoa, I was going to annotate. There we go, right here with Mercury. And Mercury is in dignity, and he's in his home kingdom, and he's telling Venus what to do. But Mercury will go retrograde on August the 5th. I mean, they're just right beside each other, and a day later, boom, there's a big retrogradation. Mercury's changing his mind. He's going backwards. He's saying, wait a minute, we need to get something cleaned up in Leo before we move forward. And in the first 4 degrees of Virgo, we need to clean this up. So Venus already is under the rulership in the sign of Virgo of a backtracking Mercury who's changing his mind or going back to deal with unfinished business. is it strong or weak? When Mercury's retrograde, he's powerful because he's moving slowly and he's close to Earth. It will take him until August the 15th to get into Leo, right? And then conjunct Donald Trump's ascendant, which is news about Trump, news stories about Trump and making announcements around in the middle of the month, 14th, 15th, 16th of August. But given that it takes so long for Mercury to move, so long for him to move to Leo, he's still in charge of Venus while he is in retrogradation. So people who are women are influenced, people who are Venus ruled, people who are, Taurus rising, Libra rising are influenced by this quite a lot. Now, it's particularly important to understand that your Virgo sky is one of 12 pie slices of your chart, and the area where there's this Venus trying to do something positive, she's still a benefic, but has to wait for Mercury to figure it out. That's a part of your sky that has delays in the results that Venus can bring. And in the world, we also may see those delays as well. So in Kamala Harris's natal chart, she's a Libra rising. So this is happening in the backroom deals and negotiations part of her sky. What's going on behind the scenes that she's dealing with? I did predict she's going to pick a running mate pretty soon. I predict it will be Tim Walz of Minnesota. I based that on his natal chart, just in case you want to know, but also the vibe when I saw him speaking recently, as being affable, grandfatherly, likable, easy, and trustworthy. Also, he has his Mars, his Jupiter, and his Sun in Aries. I believe on a rectification of his chart based on factors from his life, he's a Cancer rising, as is, I believe, JD Vance. So he's in an ideal position to move into power and leadership with a hand of the king energy in the top of his sky as well. I'm not going to do his astrology for you now, right? I'm not going to show you his chart at this juncture, but I do think he will move into the position of helping Kamala win try to win. I haven't called it yet. I want to see who falls out. Does Trump change JD Vance? Mercury will retrograde in the part of the sky that represents speech by Trump. So going back and saying something different, and then mid-August to the end of the month of August, retrograding through the ascendant and Mars of Trump, meaning changing his mind about something as a potential thing. I changed my mind about JD Vance. Now, I don't know what's going on with this part of the sky. I'll have to dig deeper into it, but Donald Trump may not also make it, nor did, Joe Biden. I predicted Joe Biden stepping away from the nomination position in many videos starting way back in March. But I also predicted a female president. That will be the first time in history. I've said that in several videos in the last 5 months. And therefore, I kind of feel like maybe Trump is also not going to make it to the final ballot, or if he does, of course, maybe he doesn't win. But I'll be doing more election astrology. I will probably be putting out a weekly election astrology video until now and the election. For those of you who like it, I might start doing them live. Okay, that's for the crew who are politically inclined. And what else can I tell you about this story? My feeling is, as I'm going to ask you to watch what I'm doing, right? I'm going to move us forward, and I want to see you watch the planet move forward, okay? And I want you to see the T-square in the sky forming, as I will be bringing this T-square energy, especially the Venus-Saturn opposition, into the all signs narrative in the second half of this video. Okay, so you'll find it in the second half. I will be doing the all signs. What happened to my share? It just disappeared. I probably disappeared from the screen as well. Sorry about that. Okay, software issues in the Mercury retrograde pre-shadow, like Mercury's going to retrograde. I'm recording this just as Mercury gets ready to do that. So that's what you're seeing here, Mercury glitching software. Now, if indeed JD Vance happens to be a Cancer rising, and I suspect he is, as well as Tim Walz, then this retrograde in Virgo is happening in the place of travel, going out caravanning, going out stumping if you're in a campaign. So Mercury here could indicate that people like JD Vance and also Walz are busy traveling to places they've been before in order to procure a popular, alliance of fans and people who think that they are going to be importantly positive. So there's that thought too, just to say, for those Cancer rising people that I believe Vance is and Walz, if he makes it, that would be an interesting time as well. I'm going to show you another part of the sky. I just want to just give you a visual on something. I want you to look down there at Mercury. He's right here. And I'm going to make this bigger because I realize I'm in small screen. I apologize. Watch what Mercury, I want you to see Mercury going backwards. Okay. He's moving pretty slow because of his retrogradation, or his visual field of being between the Earth and the Sun, getting ready to retrograde. But it is around July the 25th that he moves into Virgo. And that basically indicates that things that occurred from July the 25th to his retrograde around the 5th of August are going to be in the story as a redo, a return, a reinvestigation. So when it comes to the politics, you can see he writes definitely retrograding August the 5th. So things between July the 25th, okay, when he entered into Virgo, and August the 15th, July the 25th, August the 15th, pay attention to the news cycle to do with things that must be repaired, revised, redone, rethought, reinvestigated, rebroadcast, etc. When it comes to Venus being here, now she's dealing with, as I said, Mercury going backwards just the day after she enters into the sign of Virgo. So she's now being pulled into the undertow of a retrograde Mercury. And as Mercury continues to retrograde, we will see that between August the 5th and the 15th, Venus is also involved in the stories from the past that Mercury is bringing into the news cycle that connect to the Virgo part of the sky. In Kamala Harris's chart, that is a part of her sky that is the dark midnight hour. She is a Gemini rising. It's what she does in her private, domestic, quiet, hidden, dark, secret life, right? It's a secret house. Yeah, I don't share what I do at home all the time with you guys, right? What do you guys do at home alone, or that you keep in the midnight hour of your sky? So there will probably be things from her past that come into the news cycle prominently between August the 5th and the middle of the month, around the time of the 15th, where the digging up of the dirt is a big story in the campaign of Kamala Harris, because of course that's exactly what the Republican Party will do. It's the way politics happens in our modern day. And then when I think about Mercury going into the back end of Leo, which happens to be for Kamala, her third house of trips and journeys and speaking and media, she's getting a lot of media coverage, a lot of travel and trips to places she's traveled to before, from magazines and newspapers she's spoken to before. But there may also be the experience in the second half of August of people dragging up media clips from her past, literally dredging up things she said, who knows, even as far back as being a senator, and maybe using it in a weapon, as a weapon against her in her campaign. All right, just some thoughts. Let's also lastly say this: the United States of America is a Sagittarius rising, and this is happening in the fourth house of the United States of America's chart. The fourth house represents the oppositional party to the party in power. In that case, it's about the Republican Party. And as Venus is moving through the sign, it's funny that Venus is in her fall in a chart that currently represents the Republican Party, because it will swap up. Sometimes it'll be the Democrats, but there can be a fall, right, of a Republican Party leader, or, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene right away, but, some woman or some kind of aspect of the Republican Party having a difficult time with Venus in her fall with a retrograde Mercury. So there's some fall in the power of the Republican Party against the opposing party, because Mercury is retrograde. It's stuff from the past. It's excavating news from the past of either the Republican Party in general, or a Republican female, or something like that. So it's not a good place for Venus to be in the time of a buildup to an election between now and the 29th of August, because a lot of that energy is going to involve that retrograde Mercury until the 28th of August. So this feels like a lot of the past gets dredged up for the Republican Party and Republican Party members, etc. Of course, J.D. Vance is in hot water already, even before Mercury went retrograde. All the memes about him on the sofa, which turned out not to be true, all the energy around, his Catwoman comment and disparaging of childless women. This is definitely dirt. But as Mercury retrogrades, the dirt can deepen. It can intensify. And, I would say that the case that Mercury will make in his retrogradation between August the 5th and the 15th in the sign of Virgo is to paint J.D. Vance in J.D. Vance's media and news house as a misogynist, right? That's the best way. I mean, the most likely way that can play out with a fallen Venus. Okay, possibly that's how it will play out. But it could also be a scandal around J.D. Vance's sexuality, even though he's married with kids and all of that, just one bit of dirt. And I think Trump will have to dump him. So we'll see where that one goes. And I'm not pro-Trump, pro-Biden. I try to keep my opinion out of here. My opinion is I don't like the politics of America at all, let alone choosing a party. But I would say that I predicted starting in March. Now, I'm not perfect, guys, but I said we're going to see a female president in the election of this fall. And I also predict the election will be a terrible mess. It will be like a Gore versus Bush delay, or something that's going to interrupt the declaration of the winner because of the refrainment of Jupiter from Kamala Harris's ascendant and also from Donald Trump's son. All right, let's go ahead and get ready to do the all signs portion of the reading, reminding you that when you're doing your sign, you're going to be looking for your sun as a career and purpose and eternal nature of you. The character you play in the game of life is your ascendant. And ultimately, the moon can be about body, home, and prana and life force that enlivens you, plus your mind. You see a disturbed moon, like a moon Saturn conjunction natally or Mars conjunction, agitated mind, depressed mind, sad mind, so your mind and how you perceive this whole thing called life, not just emotionally. The character lives up the character, the ascendant. The sun is the soul, or the spirit, eternal spirit that lives the character, but how the character perceives its reality: agitated, depressed, calm, neutral. Krishnamurti, how do you know you're enlightened? I don't mind what happens. Well, someone born with a Venus moon conjunction often can have a pretty okay mind, or an optimistic mind. Jupiter moon people, they see the optimistic side of life. My partner has Jupiter moon. He says, "You ever hear me complain?" I go, "Never hear you complain." So your optimism and faith in your mind, moon, Jupiter moon, Venus, you find the pleasures of life and you look to what's enjoyable about life. You're looking at the lens of your mind through two benefic planets. So keep in mind, that's one way to understand the moon when you listen for your moon sign, if that's what you're doing as well. We're going to start with the Aries, and this video might be a two-part recording if you see me change my outfit, because I have to roll for a dentist appointment. But Aries, we're going to just focus on this. That big T-square is intense coming up in the middle of the month. The bottom line here for you is this. You might want to go back over some old health problems and reinvestigate them, because Mercury is retrograding and telling Venus what to do. They're about sexual health problems. They're about problems to do with your gonads, ovaries, and testes, or about your physical appearance and things that are getting in the way of that appearance, because Venus has fallen here. So maybe you're having rashes and you don't look so great. So any kind of health challenge that affects your appearance and your beauty, or that affects your sexuality, with a retrograde Mercury, you're going to go back and revise, redo, or reinvestigate it. And so look for that to be true for the first 2 weeks of August, as Mercury is telling Venus what to do. Once Mercury enters into Leo, though, and retrogrades there mid-August to the 28th of August, August 15th to the 28th, Venus is sort of saying, well, I guess what? I'm all on my own, right? You're leaving me to my own devices, because he's no longer attending to her. He's in aversion. So she's on her own, moving direct through your sixth house without any supervision from Mercury directly. However, we could argue that Mercury is busy in the fifth house, and some issues to do with rental properties, pets, health, and work may bring your attention to the intersection of those things and the enjoyment of it and the financial goodness of it and the wellness of it, and your children and your romantic partner and your creativity and your entrepreneurial business, because Mercury may try to ghost whisper across the fence of the fifth house to the sixth house things that Venus needs to pay attention to. Venus will eventually oppose Saturn. And although I'm not going to deep dive into this, which I will definitely do, right? I will definitely deep dive into it as we approach this intensity in the middle of August. When we get to around the 18th, she's directly opposite Saturn. And the energy is blank is hard, work is hard, health is hard, love is hard, pets are hard. because you're not finding the pleasure and joy you would likely have normally with those things, situations, and people. And yet Saturn also says we can persevere, we can endure. This would be an ideal placement for hitting a critical turning point regarding health challenges that come from addictive substances and abuse of substances that you would ingest, that you would put in your mouth. And that's because Venus rules the house of what you ingest. So you may find that there's a bit of a turning point around matters to do with reining in, controlling, structuring abuses of substances that you ingest. But also, if you make money from far off foreign shores, Saturn is helping you structure that money, digital borderless income and revenue, money from foreign people in foreign places, foreign companies. Saturn is in your 12th house. And as Venus opposes it, and she does rule the earnings or the financial wellness of your second house, you could find yourself really making a change of some kind that's practical, analytical, adaptable to increase your money from your 12th house sources. And with Uranus in the second house, she is going to come into that trine to Uranus, and that's at the very end of the month. And that's a happy, exciting pop in your financial structures connected to work, or a big breakthrough moment regarding getting rid of substances that you ingest that are not going to increase your physical wellness, that could be causing health challenges, and you're going to turn that baby around. So that's my story for you as a general theme. Remember, Aries, you only have Venus here once a year, and that's when you can really buckle down and be very analytical about your work, but at the same time finding some measure of enjoyment. I love that kind of energy when I get it the same time every year, because it's every summer. I'm an Aries sun, and it's when I get more practical about work so that I can enjoy my life. I take more time off. So how are you being more practical about your job, your work, your health, your pet situations, and anything to do with rental property and tenancies? You've got the practical, analytical way to find the enjoyment and the balance you need in the month of, in this transit of Venus through this part of the sky on the 4th to the 29th of August. Now, I am not going to finish this video today. I'm going to finish it later today, maybe. So stay tuned. I'll be cobbling these two pieces together. I forgot to announce anything to you guys, but I have Sky Reader coming up. Please subscribe. And I have a sale on for my All Signs 2024 videos, individually or collectively. All the sale material is in the description box, or get on the wait list for my Sky Reader course. Oh, I'm not on my promotional game at all. It's Venus is like, girls just want to have fun at work, right? Now, we're moving to the next sign. And what's going on, if you're wondering what's going on, is I have to change the chart to another kind of chart. So I'm going to edit the chart. I'm going to make it a whole sign house system so that I can migrate the chart forward. All right. Sorry, Taurus, I'm coming with this story for you as soon as I can get this done. Okay. So now we've jumped all the way there. That's so funny. Now I'm having a hot flash, and I have good reason. It's hot here, and I have my window closed. Hang on. Oh, all right. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. You got Venus, your lord of your sign, moving into the sign of your 5th house. It's where you get detailed, practical, analytical, and adaptable around sexuality, romance, your children relationships, and maybe things to do with art and creativity. This is really good for finalizing the details on an art project, really sticking the landing on the edits, making that painting perfectly done at the end of the day. But at the same time, I'm reminding you that she's taking orders from Mercury, who will be retrograding, and that retrogradation in the first 2 weeks of August, Taurus, indicates that you're revising, rethinking your pleasures, your sexuality, your romantic life, and your relationship to your children. But at the same time, when he moves into the sign of Leo, either she's not getting any instruction or he's ghost whispering to her. Pay attention to love matters and romantic matters as it applies to your home and your property, your domestic life, and where you live. And can you get your romance life, your children life, your entrepreneurial and creative life working in such a way that you can revise things that have been happening in those themes of your life connected to your private domestic home life. For example, maybe you've got a creative project that you've been working on. Now you're revising it, and now you're going to hang the painting in the house, or your love life has had to be really dove into and looked at, and now you're going to bring it into more joy and pleasure with the one you're with. This is a story for the second half of August, with Venus here in your 5th house, but taking orders from Mercury in your 4th. Mostly that square, T-square, I'm not going to define the whole T-square, but that opposition to Saturn is love is hard, but the hardship and the endurance is there. If you want to investigate your love story, sex story, and relationship to your children through the lens of friendship, through the lens of finding collective groups of belonging that structure the love and give it some new amplification, because Venus here can be transactional, and you might be transactional with your children, transactional with your love partner and your sex partner. But Saturn up there is saying, in the place where she exalts herself in your 11th house, maybe the way this relationship can be difficult but endure is to really look at it through the lens of what you enjoy doing together, what friendship groups you belong to together, whether that's with your child or whether that's with your love partner. Venus here can make you pregnant, Taurus. Be careful. This is a pregnancy signature. And of course, with a trine to Uranus at the end of the month, maybe a happy surprise where some Taurians find that sun, moon, or rising, especially moon, especially rising, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. And you may actually enjoy that, like as in it's a surprise, but you're actually in some way happy about it. Okay. Finally, money luck belongs to the 5th house. And if anyone can win a lottery, it's you. Transactional, Mercury, games of chance, buy a lottery ticket sometime around the 18th of August or anytime during this transit. Forget the middle of the month. Especially when at the end of the month, happy surprises for some Tauruses could look like good fortune unexpectedly around financial matters. And it can include winning money, especially at the end of the month. But know your limit, play within it. But it is not a bad time for the Taurians to play some lottery tickets within reason. Of course, Jupiter is expanding the money you can possess. And Mars says, take action, maybe buy the ticket, and then you could win some money by the end of this month. All said and done, I'll deep dive into the way that this T-square really grinds through the middle of the month especially with Venus's participation around the 18th of August in a much deeper dive video that's coming out. It includes the stars and asteroids involved, so stay tuned for that. All right, we're moving on to the next sign, but before I do that, I need to pause the recording and come back and finish this later. Thank you, guys. Continuing the all signs section of our reading, we are going to go next to we just did Taurus, and now we're going to go to the sign of Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Let's get rolling, and I'll share the screen with you. Well, I will share the screen with you when the software opens up the picture that I'm trying to show you. There we go. Sorry about the delay on that, guys. Let's roll. All right. Woo. It is warm here today in Canada, recording on August the 1st. All right, here we are. All right, if you are a Gemini, we're doing you next. And we're talking sun, moon, and rising. Your All Signs 2024 August videos are already out, as well as yesterday's delineation video, or whenever you get these videos. They came out earlier this week with another look at your all signs, so check that out as well. All right, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. We're talking Venus. Talking Venus in the sign of her fall, and she's moved into Virgo. Okay, yeah, it's like Kamala Harris. You get this kind of story on the yearly, roughly this time of year. Sometimes you want to decorate your home. You want to get, some new plans drawn up, some figure out some analytics of your kitchen, work on more practical pleasures in the home. That kind of thing. You know, Venus in the home. Sometimes a female may visit you in the home, probably a picky one, during this yearly transit. So that's a general feeling. When Venus is down at the bottom of the sky, if your floating IC is there in whole sign houses, you're also fertilizing the roots of your career and looking at what you really desire and want in your career path. Now, that's only for those of you with the IC floating in the Virgo whole sign house. Floating, don't know what I mean? Take my Sky Reader class this fall, or just cast your chart in whole sign houses where the ICMC axis is floating in different houses. One of the things I would say as Venus moves through your natal fourth house is reminding you that Lord Mercury, who's in charge of her, will be retrograding, and that will be until the middle of August, the 15th. And this indicates that as Venus is moving through this part of your sky, and this is a story that you will maybe want to revise, redo, renegotiate, rethink some sort of matter to do with your home life. Now, it can be a legal matter, a lease, a rental agreement. It can be something very practical as she's doing her movement here on the 4th of August to the 28th or 29th of August. You know, like she's moving here, she's going direct, but it's that retrograde Mercury. It's something to do with how you might want to go back over some old ground. Sometimes this could be people from your past, particularly females from your childhood, making inroads again into your present day life, as not only does Venus move forward through the fourth house, but Mercury, the messenger, moves backward. And then, of course, there is the movement of Mercury into Leo, carrying more of the fourth house story back to your third house. And there may be opportunities to travel, to visit people from your childhood, or people from your childhood coming from the past, coming to visit you. There may be opportunities for educational directions, especially a skills-based class or teaching that you can take that may fortify your enjoyment of life, but in and from your home, right, where Venus is sitting and Mercury is giving her orders. Learn at home, redesign your home at home, from a third house perspective with a local designer maybe, or follow your neighbor's guidance and do your redesign of your home just like theirs, etc. Retrograde Mercury is telling Venus what to do. This is not a Mercury video. Venus will be opposite Saturn. Now, there's a whole T-square, but we're going to do a whole video on that. It's just her opposition to Saturn, which occurs on August the 19th, pretty precisely, indicates a grinding moment of love is hard, money is hard, but this is the house of your career versus the house of your private home life, your secret private home life versus your public life, etc. There's this tension moment in the sky here around the 19th of August between competing interests and opposing forces. Saturn is strong in the top of the sky relative to Venus because he's in Pisces, where he has neutral dignity. So Saturn, the boss of you and the house of your work, is telling Venus, sorry, I know you want that. You want to buy the new car. You want to buy the new sofa. You want to buy the new house. You want to decorate the new house. You want to have that girlfriend visit you and stay in your home. Whatever you're trying to do with Venus down in the fourth house, you're going to find that Saturn is prioritizing the work and the reputation over the pleasures and the joy and the fun and the satisfaction in your private life. Sometimes it's as simple as Venus wants to play at home and Saturn wants to work hard in the work and career space. And this is going to feel like a grinding moment for a lot of Geminis around the 19th of August, not to mention the T-square, which we'll be delineating in a long and deep dive separate video. Now, what about the next sign? Yes, yes, yes. Now, you happen to be a Cancer, sun, moon, or rising, or you wouldn't be looking at this little circle, this little image here of the crab claws, you know? And it looks like Venus is going to move here for 3 weeks, you know, August the 4th, 5th, depends on your time zone, through to the 29th of August in direct motion through your third house. And your third house is that travel house. Like, I'm going to go off to the cottage for the weekend. I'm going to travel 2 states over and visit my uncle. I'm going to do something short distance. And she would like to have pleasurable travel, but she is in a place of her fall. And technically there could be some complications, or maybe just it requires a lot of detailed planning for you to take that trip. But you might be trying to figure out how to book a ticket or plan the itinerary or something like that for some kind of trip. Same energy of itineraries, planning, analytics toward any kind of educational course you wish to learn from or to teach. You can be a teacher or a learner in this house. Also, a younger sibling is Venus, and she is going to maybe be communicating with you, the one just under you, in a bit more vociferous and vocal way, especially as we approach the opposition to Saturn. And that's going to be some kind of maybe conflict with that younger sibling, some kind of showdown or oppositional energies between what that sibling wants and matters that you're attending to in your ninth house. So there is that tension on the 19th of August that is embedded in a larger T-square, but it may be travel complications to do with visas or passports or far off foreign shores and lands, or educational kerfuffles and complications that make things feel very difficult for you in that smaller window around the middle of August. Now, energetically, with Mercury moving retrograde as the boss of Venus, from the beginning of Venus's entry here to about the 15th of August, things that you have been doing since July 15th to do with siblings, especially younger, aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, neighborhood matters, trips and travel and learning, writing, communicating, and the online world, things that you've been engaged in this part of your sky, right, are going to go backwards because, actually things, especially from July 15th when Mercury was here in direct motion. So, he's going backwards. He's revising things. Venus is taking his orders, is what I'm saying. So he could go backwards and say, oh my God, the carpet color, the wall color, that table doesn't fit the dining room. It could be something, dining room, sorry, we're not in the fourth house. It could be that trip you're planning doesn't really work. It could be that, those dates are going to be a dead end, or you want to travel to a place you've been before because Venus wants to follow Mercury's lead. And he's saying, I'm the protector of travelers, going backwards in a travel house. So travel from the past, trips from the past, returning, a redo. Even if you don't take it, you may plan it, book the tickets, etc. So there is that. And then as Mercury moves through your second house from the 15th of August to the 28th, he's looking over at Venus the best he can, ghost whispering to her from the aversion. Well, what about money? What about money? Do we need to revise our savings account? Do we need to look more clearly at what we're spending? Do we need to look more closely at the food style we have chosen for ourselves? Yes, we want pleasure, but we want health, right? So Mercury's prioritizing, but he is also retrograding in a place that he's traveled before as well. What part of your financial stories are you reassessing? And Venus is trying to help out because Mercury says, we're looking at the money, honey. And she says, okay, money and travel, let's figure it out. Let's have a budget. Or travel opportunities in the past from past places, and women from your past, particularly childhood friends and siblings and cousins and uncles and aunts and neighbors are in the story, and they affect you in a financial manner somehow, some way. And then, of course, Venus is complying with Mercury's orders. So those are some themes I'm seeing there. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. What a tale we can tell here. What a tale we can tell. Because we have this Venus in the sign of your chart that represents your financial matters, particularly savings, earnings, but also your facial appearance. And she's very practical. She's a cosmetician, esthetician. She's your cosmetic dentist with detailed application of energies. What are you doing? She's not just your dental hygienist, but she could be that. So anything to do with your face, your mouth, your throat, you're looking at beauty, but she's also, as she moves through here every year, focused on your financial wellness. And she will do her best, despite her fall, to bring you some practical, analytical, and realistic good things about your money. Now, don't forget, she's going to trine Uranus at the end of all of this, which I love at the end of the month, or of August, at the tail end of her journey through the sign of Taurus, bringing you a happy money surprise connected to your career. I'll have a video, all of that when I get to it, but know that that's down the pipeline as a money career surprise, hey you, lucky you moment. But in essence, the main thing I want to point out here is that she has to take orders from Mercury, and Mercury's retrograding from the first 2 weeks till the middle of August through the sign of Virgo. So she's taking his orders and he's going backwards. So money from your past, savings from your past, cosmetic styles of facial stuff from your past, food styles from your past, going back to being a vegan again, a keto again, a paleo again, are happening. She wants pleasure. Mercury's going back to the past about things you ingest. She wants facial beauty. Mercury's going back to find ways to fix your face from the past. You've probably done it before. That kind of thing. Financial solutions can be Venus's word. Mercury goes back and does the books, checks the accounting, checks the bank balances, and figures it out. Then, as Mercury in the second half, August the 15th to the end of the month, moves through your first house, you have ideas. You have thoughts about what you want to do with your money, and Venus will try her best to follow your orders. But some of your ideas and thoughts you've had them before. You're just revisiting them, and Mercury may ghost whisper across the aversion border to the second house. Venus, I got the great ideas in this Leo's head. Let's execute them the last 2 weeks of August to improve our money, food style, and facial appearance. Let's get that done. Of course, the opposition to Saturn is a money is hard. That could definitely be true when it comes to shared monies with your spouse, or shared monies with a business partner, or inheritance monies, or monies from your tax stories or your investments. There's a tension, big money tension in the sky, August the 19th, Venus opposite Saturn. Get ready for that. Not to worry too much because we'll get into more depth with the T-square video coming up in the middle of the month to give you some asteroids, fixed stars, and other tips about how to handle that intensity. Virgo, you are ruled by the sign of, you are ruled by the planet Mercury, and he's really the boss of Venus. Why? Because Venus is in his house, right? Virgo. So just know that around the 4th and 5th, depends on your time zone, Venus enters Mercury's house. That's you. You are more facially beautiful, physically beautiful. You are more lovely. You are more practical, analytical, and controlling of pleasures and substances that bring you pleasure. You have an ability to be more in tune with your self-like, self-love quotient, and people may find you attractive, charming, charismatic during this, 3-week transit, most of August. But also understand that Venus must comply with Mercury, and Mercury is retrograde until about the 15th of August in your Virgo sun, moon, and rising place, right? So you may be revising career plans, sun, home plans, moon, for example, or body plans, and the ascendant, anything in your life. You're rethinking it, you're getting new ideas, going back to the past, revising your thoughts, rethinking, changing your mind. What might you want to change your mind about as Mercury retrogrades here, yet Venus says, it's all good. We'll make, what is that? Lemonade from lemons. If you need to change your mind, it's okay. You are a mutable sign. You're one of the mutables. You can change your mind. You're flexible and adaptable. You're not rigid. So changing your mind is definitely a Mercury retrograde through the sign of Virgo. What would you change your mind about? And Venus will try to make something good from it. Now, technically, as well as Mercury goes backwards, he slides in the 15th or so of August into Leo. And this could indicate changing your mind about matters of addiction, self-undoing, self-sabotage, and bad habits, or to do with people and places from far off foreign shores, or changing your mind about matters to do with insane asylums, hospitals, and prisons. That's where Mercury retrogrades next. Because he's a dream messenger in the 12th, pay attention to your dreams as he retrogrades through the sign of Leo. You're pretty well going to have some major revelations through your insights, meditations, or even through therapy and therapeutic stories, because Chiron on the 8th, flowing to Mercury retrograde in Leo, is excellent for therapeutic support, insights, and interventions. Don't forget, anytime Mercury retrogrades, it's about also things from the past, and you may be readjusting childhood narratives from your past, close to the 4th house, so that you can heal something to do with your own identity. Because when Mercury goes direct, he comes back into the house of you, and you will be looking squarely in September around the 9th and onward about how you apply the deep lessons of the 12th to your identity. And Venus says, we make things work out here. We are going to make it work for you. Because Venus will finish this journey, right? She'll be done, and you'll feel better about it by the 3rd week of August. You really will. Also, there's a crucible moment. She opposes Saturn. It's tense. It's August the 19th, give or take a few days. Look for that to be a big blowout with a client, business partner, or marriage type partner, where there is a power of wills, a control, struggle, battle. the other person has the upper hand. They may indeed be able to assert control or dominance, and it may be actually for the best. So let's see what happens at that time. Don't worry, because at the end of this whole thing, at the very end of August, around the 28th, 29th, Venus is going to flow to Uranus in your ninth house. And that's just a lovely, beautiful, positive, happy surprise. And I'll delineate that in a separate video, but things end well at the end of this Venus transit. And the surprise is a ninth house surprise, foreign travel, higher educational things, legal matters, and also, the meaning of life. Nothing more intense than the meaning of life. So then Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign, it happens to be that you're going to experience Venus moving through Virgo from August 4th, 5th, depends on time zone, to the 29th of August. And as she does this Virgo transit every year, you get a lot of bed pleasures. Venus is a goddess of pleasure in the house of secrets, but also time alone. Bed pleasures can be literally bed pleasures, sex and fun in bed, but it can also be just pleasures in your isolation, alone time, what you do at home alone. You may be finding more pleasure in solitude and being alone than you normally do. As Venus retrogrades, moves through here, she's accompanied by Mercury, who is also going to be retrograde. So if we think about her moving here and Mercury going backwards in Virgo, his home kingdom, through until the middle of the month, his retrograde says go back over spiritual philosophies, foreign land and far shores, business endeavors or travels. Maybe go back to a foreign country you've been before, maybe travel for business to a place you've been before, maybe have a lot of communications with business entities in far foreign lands. And Venus says, I'll make money, I'll make wealth happen, I'll make prosperity happen, I'll bless this whole endeavor. So it's really good if you were like looking for a job and you hear from an employer from another country, an international company, you get to go travel to another country because it's going to be prosperous for you. Even emails, phone calls, and text messages from far off foreign shores, they can help you financially prosper from foreign entities. Can be a story for the first half of August. The second half of August, Mercury, the boss of Venus in his house, backtracks into Leo. And now it's all about those friendships that you have and those large groups of belonging, those networks of social community. And some people from your past may return to you. You'll hear from those old friends you haven't seen or heard from in a long time. An elder sibling could be on the phone texting you, etc. But we're applying that to what Venus wants. And so anything going on with Mercury backtracking in your 11th, you could actually get an old job from the past coming back to you. It's not the most obvious thing, but it does apply here. Or as Mercury backtracks to the 11th, he could ghost whisper to Venus across the aversion border, something like, maybe you'll have more fun hanging out with your old friends instead of your new friends, instead of having just solo pleasure time alone watching Netflix, something like that. And gains from your career and Mercury retrograde in the 11th, you could have career gains that were held back from you from the past return to you in some way, or colleagues and coworkers in the past getting in touch with you as well. And Venus is trying to make it about financial gain, especially if it involves travel, distance travel, foreign shores, foreign people, and foreign businesses. Well, Scorpio, Venus will be August 4th and the 5th beginning to move through Virgo, which is a house that belongs to Mercury. So we'll be talking a bit about him. Wait, back it up. Libra, gnarly tension in the middle of the month, August 19th. August 19th, Libra. You've got a problem here between something going on in your private life, very secretive energy or hidden enemy impacting your work environment. There's tension in work matters, health matters, rental agreement matters, pet situations, as Venus is in an opposition to Saturn. And there may be tension from the boss, for example, or that one above you at work regarding matters to do with what you have hidden from view, especially if it has something to do with the word self-sabotage or self-undoing, coming to a head August the 19th. Not to worry, at the end of the month, Venus flows to Uranus and gives you unexpected money surprises that are positive, most likely at the end of this transit. Scorpio, we see the movement of Venus through the sign of her detriment, her fall. But it's not always a bad thing. She likes pleasure and social time, and she's in a place that is sociable and pleasurable, fun times with friends, doing things with friends, or people who are benefactors and want to help you, who act like a big sister or brother, want to be team you. Those supporters are in your 11th house. Those allies are up there. And so people who want to support you, likely female, can be coming into your story during the transit of August the 4th to the 29th. But also you might find that social life is taking priority for you, and you may have an uptick of some kind, just to some degree, in the money you're making from your career and the rewards you're receiving from your career and reputation path. However, also, she's in Mercury's house and he will be retrograding. And that suggests the retrogradation until August 15th, while Mercury is in Virgo, his home kingdom, and it's positive, he's in dignity, tells Venus, negotiate your new salary, talk to those friends, socialize. This is a very social first 2 weeks of August. I don't know what you're doing, but with both Mercury and Venus here, you're doing a lot of socialization from people, colleagues, coworkers, friends, elder sibling from your past. So a lot of these things are going on, or a flurry of communications and emails and texts regarding your financial gains and other rewards from your career are ongoing from the first 2 weeks of August. August 15th, Mercury begins to ghost whisper from the 10th house, telling Venus, let's look at the fine print. Let's negotiate this carefully. We want to increase our gains. We want to get that new job. We can do this. But again, we're seeing things going back from the past in your work. So people from your past may be allies and supporters, as well as when you look at Mercury about August 15th to the 29th, he's like applying pressure in a work environment, a career environment, but engaging in things from the past. This is not something brand new. Going back to an old company, hearing from people in an old company, that kind of thing. Venus opposes Saturn August the 19th. You're going to have a blowout with a child, with a romantic partner, with a creative project. You can have some tension between your social life and career gains and your fun, play, joy, and pleasure, where already it feels hard because Saturn's been going through here. But this could be a moment of tension August 19th, give or take a few days. And it's a part of a T-square that is intense. We will dive into that all in another video where we can be very intensely focused on the T-square. Finally, you must look forward to the happy surprise at the end of August, around the 28th, 29th, we'll say the 27th, 28th, when Venus is going to trine Uranus, and you get a pleasant, happy, unexpected surprise connected to your audience, marketplace, business partners, or significant other, and it may bring financial benefits to your life. Sagittarius. Venus is moving through August 4th, 5th to the 29th, your Virgo 10th house in a sign of her fall, but you get this every year. You're used to it. Analytical, detailed precision, benefits and actions and rewards can happen, especially around the money or enjoyment of your career. You may be getting a lot of micro celebrity, a lot of attention, a lot of appreciation, or just having a lot of fun in doing the thing you do in the visible world. If you're retired, what do people see you doing? If you're a student, what do they see you doing? It's your visible actions in the high noon sky of what people observe you doing. And in essence, you're having a good time. Now, of course, you're adaptable, flexible, and mutable. You'll change your mind. I'll go to that party. I won't go to that party, but it's office party, right? So that's where you're enjoying your time. Venus up here will be taking orders from Mercury. Mercury will be retrograde with her in his kingdom of Virgo for the first 2 weeks until about the 15th of August. You will be asking yourself what colleagues, coworkers, career opportunities, bosses, workplace environments from my past are coming to me in my emails, texts, phone calls, and conversations in those first 2 weeks. And Venus says, I'll make them pleasurable, fun, happy, and prosperous. Now, a little bit later, Venus will still be moving through Virgo, but now Mercury's backtracked into Leo, and Leo is your 9th house. There's an opportunity here, perhaps coming up in the second half of August, for travel abroad to a place you've traveled before, but it might be for professional reasons because Venus is still in that 10th house, or Mercury might tell Venus that it's time for you to apply for a professional educational program, or you might even be accepted only if those programs are connected to things that are coming from the past. You've already set the ball in motion, or you've been in this story before. And Mercury retrograde in the ninth house can have spiritual teachers, pastors, gurus, guides, and therapists and counselors from your past, including human resource people, emerging out of the woodwork in the last 2 weeks of August, but to benefit you in your professional area where Venus will execute the good stuff. And also book publishing. Are you somebody who's written a book or written a manuscript? Well, publishers in the past, agents in the past, contacts from the past can emerge. Venus would like you to get a little bit of celebrity, a little bit of love at the top of the sky, a little bit of appreciation for what you're doing. So it could be some really nice moments to talk about your book on a podcast, to share your creativity as a publication or a podcaster with the world and receive and be generating a positive reception from the world. However, it's all connected to things you've done already in the past. It's somehow the past comes forward. What I don't like about this guy, of course, is Venus is opposing Saturn, and she's having, fun at work, and Saturn's a mopey, grumpy old man at home. Somebody or some situation in your home may drag you down. It may pull you down, indeed, because Saturn's stronger than Venus right now. And therefore, Venus is like, I just want to have fun in my career. I want to be ambitiously prosperous up here. And middle of the month, August the 19th, Saturn is like, wait a minute, we got to deal with the hard things at home, the difficult things at home, the grinding, enduring things at home. It's a part of a T-square that I'll delineate in a later video that also could bring in a significant challenge regarding a marriage partner or legal matters connected to your home. At the end, it kind of has a sweet spot because Venus around the 27th, 28th, 26th, 27th, 28th will trine Uranus, bringing unexpected, super positive developments in work and career matters. Look forward to the happy surprises at the end of this Venus transit. Capricorn, Venus is moving in the sky through your ninth house in her fall, yes, but you get this every year, all of your life. You've gotten used to it. She will be saying analytical, precise, detailed focus on court and legal matters. This is again, August the 5th to the 28th. Book publishing matters, podcasting matters, foreign travel, visas, passport matters, and technical things like the passport visa stuff, the bureaucracy and the red tape can be very much an agenda if travel's involved when Venus is up there. Now, also, she's also about what you enjoy, and you enjoy that course, that class, that publication thing. Are you enjoying anything in the ninth house? When Venus is up there, you want to desire meaningful life. And are you finding that to be true? Because what you desire in the ninth house is to lead a life of purpose, meaning, and dharmic alignment. So Venus always asks you to question that every year around this time. Venus up here is also in the house of a third marriage. A second marriage is your second house. A first marriage is your seventh. Pray tell, you may be engaging in a relationship, a third type marriage relationship, and this is her yearly time to give you a glow up, a feel good vibe, a love up, but it's practical as well. With the energy of Mercury co-present with her in his kingdom of Virgo and retrograding, you're going to go back to the past regarding legal matters, third marriage matters, things to do with publications, book publishing, visas, and foreign travel, and people from foreign lands that wish to help you because there's a trine from Venus, Mercury to you. And those people from the past will come to you, phone calls, emails, and all of that. Professors, lawyers from the past, judges from the past, publishers from the past. Because Mercury's retrograde, Venus is trying to fulfill his demands in his kingdom, and she'll say, I'll help. So lucky money breaks from the past, Lakshmi house, lucky money breaks from the past, wealth and prosperity involving legal matters or foreign places from your past returning to you. Now, when we get that Mercury moving into your eighth house, the second part of the story is August the 15th to the 28th or so. Mercury's trying to have you go back over the books, check out your taxes, check out your tax structures, check out your money you share with another, look at the fine print. Are you seeing things from your past to do with investments, inheritances that need to be inspected as he retrogrades in your eighth house? Are secrets from the past being addressed by you for the first time as Mercury is retrograde here and whispering to Venus across the fence between the eighth and ninth? I'm digging up some secret dirt. I'm digging up some financial stuff from my past. Let's apply it to that trip we want to take. Let's apply it to that legal brief for the lawyer in the court matter. Let's apply it to the book publishing thing. Let's apply it to my third marriage, because sometimes secrets are in the eighth house. Mercury's digging in the eighth house for secrets from the past, but Venus wants to make some lemonade from those secrets. And it could look like some very positive secrets from the past: shared revenue with another person, business partner income, spouses shared incomes. Whatever Mercury can dig up from the past, he'll hand it to Venus in the house of courts. So again, if you're in a separation agreement problem, this could look good on you. Also, Venus up here in the ninth house may just say, well, all that financial material from your past that you're focused on, can we use it to take a trip somewhere foreign? Can we use it to get a better visa arrangement going here? What are we doing with all of this, eighth house stuff? She's wondering how to use it, because he will come back, of course, to Virgo around September 8th, 9th. And so she's kind of paved the way for what Mercury can do as he digs around in the eighth house. Venus opposes Saturn on the 19th or so of August. It's gnarly, gnarly, gnarly. Is there a conflict with a travel plan, a sibling, a neighbor, or just arrangements for travel, or conflict and difficulty, sort of power struggle moment regarding things to do with learning and academic settings, materials? It's hard to say what it is. Venus is weak. Saturn is stronger. And so Saturn says the controller of the Venus story is making a point August 19th. It can be a legal matter with a sibling. It could be a travel issue with a third marriage partner. And come on, Saturn's got the sage-like wisdom and the strong, backbone to get his way. But he's also constraining and restricting. Venus is, girls just want to have fun at church. Girls just want to have fun in book publishing. Girls just want to have fun on foreign travel. That's the vibe up there. And Saturn's like, nah, August 19th, there's tension in the sky. Because it's a part of a T-square to the sixth house, we'll be doing a separate video on that as we approach the middle of the month, diving into the stars and asteroids. So you want to check that video out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please hit that notification bell. It does help my channel grow. And if it thrives and grows, I thrive and grow. And we keep doing this game together called Read the Future, the Time Our Best Life. It is Aquarius. I am one of you who we have every year Venus moving through our eighth house of chunky money. It happens to be August the 4th, 5th through the 28th this year. This can give us financial benefits to do with taxes, tax structures, inheritances, money we share with our spouse or significant other, money we get from business partnerships, money we get from our investments. Something financially positive but analytical and detailed is taking place. Venus always brings us good things in the eighth house if it's also about sexuality and intimacy, particularly the more sex magic, tantric kind of energies. If you're looking for that kind of activity in your romantic life, it could come on for you as well. Now, as Venus is here, it is the first 2 weeks of the story until August 15th that she must take orders from a retrograde Mercury. And Mercury is going to go back to the past. And so he says money from the past, shared money with a partner, inheritances, stock investments from the past, taxes from the past, and communications, phone calls, and text messages can be returning into the airways and e-ways of your life for the first 2 weeks of the month, and Venus will make that into something prosperous. I don't care if she's in her fall. She's just analytical. What do you desire? She's, let me analyze it. You're going to get some financial uptick here. There's no two ways about it. And that is the first 2 weeks of August. In the second 2 weeks, like August 15th to the 28th, Mercury is retrograding in your seventh house of long-term committed love, legal agreements, business partners, old marriage type partners from your past, emails, phone calls, text messages, ancient history clients or customers you haven't seen in a long time reaching out to you. Yes, that's a Mercury story, right? It's happening until Mercury stops retrograding at the end of August, the 28th, I think. But Venus is listening to what Mercury does, and she has to translate it to money, most likely money, sometimes secrets. So I'll give you a couple thoughts. Secrets from a former marriage partner, business partner from the past coming into the light of awareness for you in a positive way. Money connected to a former business partner, love partner, or client from the past, benefiting you in a positive way. August the 15th through to the 28th. August the 19th, however, you hit a hurdle, and the hurdle is Venus's opposite Saturn. And this is a crunching moment regarding Venus's enjoyment and pleasure in the 8th house. And Saturn with the breaks and the structures and the constraints. In the second, Saturn wants to give you conservative safety, contain your spending, be careful with your money, structure your earnings under this influence. I incorporated, Saturn got into my second house, and my accountant said, you got to incorporate, girl. So this kind of thing. And yet his sensible, level-headed backbone structure energy in the second house is telling Venus, hey, girl, August 19th, listen to me. And it may not feel so bad, but it's about containing something, structuring something. And, the T-square, I don't know, you could win the lottery and you just want to spend it. And Saturn says, no, we're going to figure something out. Something like that. We're going to deep dive, Aquarius, into what this is, because you have a lot of money bounty in the next year. And Venus is saying money bounty, analytics, enjoy about the money. And then Saturn is like, wait a minute, August 19th, let's get a handle on this. This is August 19th, a few days before and after. We'll do a T-square video in deep dive. And don't forget the happy money surprise that Venus will offer at the very end of it, where she surprises you with a financial, exciting, happy moment from things to do with your 4th house and your 8th house. Now, it's not that rare, right? It's been happening since 2019, but it's a yearly yay me moment. And because of the grid of the T-square, I think this is going to feel like the balm of relief. Something good is happening to do with home-based matters and financial matters. And yet, August 19th, like a week before this happy surprise, or 7 days before, you can feel contracted around money. And oh God, thank God I'm recording. I had a thought I wasn't. And lastly, if you're a Pisces sun, moon, or rising, it's Virgo, Venus in your 7th house, in your marriage house. Now, I don't care if she's fallen. Everyone thinks a fallen planet, debilitated planet, everything sucks. How can you live your whole life with the goddess of love and pleasure in your house of your significant other and literally not find something good happening? I find that people who are Pisces rising with this transit of Venus through the 7th house find that they attract love mates who are very analytical about love. That's about it. Like you're not going to attract someone who goes, whoa. You're going to attract someone who looks at the love story through the eyes of an analytical, practical way. And you'll fall in love with people who look like bespectacled librarians, you know what I mean? Because it's the Venus vibe in Virgo, right? She's got her accountant hat on, her librarian hat on, whatever. And those kinds of archetypes may actually quite appeal to you. Or if it's your man or woman, it doesn't matter. It's a way that Venus presents herself here. And anyway, moving through the story, this is a time where it fortifies and strengthens your long-term committed love relationship. It gives a little bit more fun. It gives your partner in life a bit of a glow up. Whoever your partner is, they're going to feel, oh my God, things feel a lot better. I feel a glow going on here. I feel like I'm lucky. I'm having something happy happen. That's good for them. But you also might feel, both of you, if you have a partnership, the relationship is going well. I wouldn't start a new relationship, however, under this gritty T-square that will be forming. So hold on to your hat there. Venus here also is good for legal contracts and negotiations, and also selling and marketing something, that could be quite well received by the public. Now, with the Mercury retrograde in the first 2 weeks until the 15th, and she's in Virgo with Mercury, the house lord, she's taking his orders, and you're going to see like old love, past relationships, former long-term committed partners in business and love, or clients from the past coming back out of the blue to talk to you, phone calls, emails, text messages. They want your attention. It may be positive, however, because Venus is also pointing out that you can have good things happen from people you've known in your past that were important to you. And as Venus continues to move through your seventh house, it will be around the 15th of August to the 28th that Mercury is retrograding now in your work house. And it can be a simple meaning that maybe people from your past connected to work opportunities are emerging for you in positive ways in the last half of August. But because as Mercury retrogrades and ghost whispers to the seventh, legal agreements and contracts to do with rentals and pets and tenancies may be very much on your agenda and very much on your mind in the second 2 weeks of August. And colleagues, coworkers, and bosses from the past may be returning into your field of awareness the last couple of weeks of August, the 15th to the 28th, and Venus is trying to take that information from Mercury, and Mercury's telling her, can we use these people from our past to benefit us in our seventh house? Maybe legal contracts for a new job, legal contracts for new tenancy agreements, legal contracts about pets, that kind of thing. But these are all from the past, like a breeder you talked to in the past, a workplace from your past, a landlady or landlord situation from your past coming forward and can cement itself in a happy legal contract in the last 2 weeks of August. The gnarly tension happens between Venus and Saturn on August 19th, a couple days before and after. You're feeling extremely stressed out in the long-term committed love story part of your life. That's what that is. You are strong, sober-minded, and realistic, and you are the Saturnian backbone, looking across the way at the Virgo Venus person that you're with and telling them, hey, basta, enough, boundaries, structure, what you want, what you need in that relationship if you already have a relationship. Again, don't start something new under this. It's too difficult. Love is hard. Love is hard. Business partnership is hard. I need to persevere and dutiful and be responsible here. If that's the kind of new love story you want, go for it. Otherwise, your existing love story goes through a bit of a challenge every year as Venus, not every year, only does your existing love relationship feel this challenge as Saturn has been in your first house since last year in March to 26, and Venus once a year makes it obvious to you that love is hard. Your love is hard time of year is here. Happy surprise, happy surprise. To do with love and money, but Venus will flow to Uranus the 27th, 28th of the month of August to the 29th, and that flow relationship is really lovely and says something like unexpected happy travel opportunities with my partner, unexpected happy opportunities to do something in the local environment with a significant other. It may look like a happy unexpected opportunity to go on a date and might not be so bad at the end of the month as that T-square begins to loosen its grip. Happy unexpected opportunities that really feel exciting to sign legal contracts to do with travel, educational opportunities, things to do with younger siblings that surprise you, but may involve legal matters, kind of a mashup. I'll kind of cover that in the weekly video for the last week of August with a little bit more depth. And that's about it. Don't forget, my all signs videos are out. You can check my all sign videos right now. Each one is about 25 minutes to 30 minutes long. Those came out on the 20th or so of the month of July. My new overview of the month of August is out with a little tiny, teeny hit for each sign talking about the Jupiter-Mars conjunction for you in the month of August. And I will be doing a deep dive into the T-square. The T-square that's happening. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this video if you like it, share the love. And don't forget to check out my Sky Reader class. It's coming up, and my All Signs 2024 bundle is on sale for $33. It's my summer sale. 90-minute videos times 12. Not bad. Or for half a year left, you can get your sign for only $14. It's in the description box below. It is summer fun here in Vancouver, Canada, and I'm about to go out, pick up my daughter, have a call to take her somewhere and come home. And I think I'm going to open a bubbly rosé on my balcony. It is the wine lover's middle way, I promise. Ciao, ciao, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful summer so far. I hope it's better than it's going to be in the middle of August. Ciao, ciao.